All right. So good evening to you all. So we are about to start, and I urge you share the link for downlines. Okay, share the link so that we can start. Yes. So share the link. Okay. So keep sharing the link to your team members, your downlines. Let everyone join so that we can all start. Okay. So we are starting within the next 5 minutes. We are starting within the next 5 minutes. We'll be starting within the next 5 minutes. So share the link with your downlines. Share the link with your downlines. I'm sure you cannot hear me clear. Share the link with your downlines so that we can start within the next 5 minutes. We are starting. Okay. Okay. So I've made some few people co-hosts so that in case I'm out of the meeting, they can help me out for me to join. Okay. So please, my co-host, kindly help me out in case I'm out or there is a breach of network. You'll be able to assist me for me to join back, alert me for me to join back. Okay, so we are starting within the next minutes. We are starting within the next 2 minutes. Okay, so share the link. Share the link. Share the link for us to start. Share the link for us to start. I've always been saying this, and it means a lot to me anytime I say this. You see, this business goes beyond just trading, also impacting in the life of people. So if you are here, you want to learn, it's important for you to ensure, especially when you have team members, when you have downlines, it is important for you to also join the meeting with them. If you're a team leader, you can't join business, you can't join the meeting when your downlines are not here. Do you get it? Do you get it? So it is important for you to join the meeting with your downline. So please share the link so that we can all start. We are starting very soon. Okay. We are starting very soon. So share the link. Okay. All right. So before we start, let me use some few minutes to do this little exercise. Before we start, let me use some few minutes to do this little exercise. Yeah, so kindly tell me your name and where you are joining from. Your name and where you are joining from. So if you are joining from Uganda, you tell me your name and then you mention Uganda. If you are joining from Kenya, tell me your name, then you mention where you are joining from. Okay, so before we start, whilst for our downlines, our team members to join us, introduce yourself. Tell me your name and where you are joining from. So we have Emmanuel from South Sudan, Shafik from Shafik Abu from what? Abu Dhabi. Okay, Abu Dhabi. That is UAE. Okay. So Safi from Uganda, Noble Crypto Coach from Kampala, Uganda. Okay. So Moses from Uganda, Fina Peters from Abuja, Nigeria. Okay. So Herbert from Nigeria, Victor from Nigeria, Ronald from Uganda. Right. Okay. So Amasia from Kenya, Jelia from Saudi Arabia. Okay, so Rose from South Sudan. Okay, so meanwhile, share the link. Keep sharing the link so that we can start. Okay, so we have Kevin from Kampala, Uganda. Okay, so we have Martha from South Africa. Martha from South Africa. Okay, all right. So You can also introduce yourself. So you have Hussein from Ghana. Hussein from Ghana. Okay, so good. That is good. All right, so we are starting. We are not going to waste my time here. We are going to start. Okay, so we have Konza from South Africa. Lera. Lera, you didn't mention where you are joining from. Okay, no problem. You didn't mention where you are joining from, no problem. Okay, so okay, from Lagos, Nigeria. All right. Okay, Anthony Lera, Lagos, Nigeria, right? Okay. All right. So I think we are starting now. It is important, like I've been saying, if your downlines are not hearing me, those people who don't join early, they are those who, when we are about to end the session, they will also join and begin to distract the lesson that I did not understand. Did not understand. Go over again. So we have Precious, this Perios from Uganda. Okay. So please try and ensure that your team members are also here. I've been saying this over and over that a business that has to do with team members. If we're a team leader and you join without your downlines or your team members, you are just building disaster. Okay, because the progress of your business has to do with the progress of your downlines. So if you join a business, if you join a meeting forum that will educate you, that will enlighten you, and your team members are not there, you are not building a business, you are building a disaster. Okay, so you have Roberts from Rwanda. All right, so quickly, I'm sharing my screen for us to start. I'm sharing my screen for us to start. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so share screen. Okay, so now I'm sure my screen is visible. I'm sure my screen is visible. Yes, I'm sure my screen is visible. Start. All right, so I welcome you once again, and we are starting right here. Yesterday we discussed an interesting session with the futures trading, and I think most of you wanted to ask a lot of questions, but quite unfortunate due to some technical reasons, since my phone went off. Okay, yes, there was power shortage or outage in the environment or in the area, and my phone went off. All right, so I think today I'm well prepared. I'm having my power bank, and everything is well versed for this session. Okay, so I'm sure you're also well prepared to um, learn more about whatever we've discussed about the futures market so far. And this evening, we are going to focus more on how to set up a trade, open margin calls, do calculations, and understand what we call BSD in futures trading. Understand what we call BSD in futures trading. So we are topping up from where we ended yesterday. Okay, we are topping up from where we ended yesterday. So I'm sure you are going to follow this session and then understand the concept of what trading on the futures market. Okay, all right. So quick, without wasting my time, we have our screens shared. Let's use our board. Okay, let's go to the classroom and then get the necessary information we need to get. Okay, so all right. Now, we've discussed so many things about the futures markets. Yesterday, like I said, we looked at certain futures and then the explanation of those terms, how they work in the futures markets. Now, today, now that you've gotten to understand how those futures works on the futures markets, you also need to know how you can also set up a trade in the futures market. How you can set up a trade on the futures market. Okay. Now, when it comes to setting up a trade on the futures market, I've always been saying the basic purpose of this training, and then also when it comes to trading, it is the responsibility of every single trader to at least know two things. To at least know two things. That is, the first one is how to set up a trade. Okay, how to set up a trade, and then the second one is how to select what a coin. How to select what a coin. And glory be to God, crypto ambassadors, you are doing very well. All these lessons we take traders through right from morning to evening. When it comes to trade settings, when it comes to coin selection, every aspect of or every necessary information you need to know um is being presented in crypto ambassadors. That is the reason why I always say that crypto ambassadors is the best team ever when it comes to Royalq. Okay, now trade settings. Ideally, we have the basic understanding of trade settings on the spot market. We have the basic understanding of trade settings on the spot market, and setting up a trade on the futures market has no greater exceptionality or greater difference as compared to the spot market. They are the same, but there are slight difference to which the trader should know and what understand. There are slight difference between the trade setup on the futures market as compared to the spot market, to which the trader should know and then what understand. Now, when it comes to the setup on the futures market, what makes it so exceptional is the fact that on the spot market, we focus on um what we call USDT. You calculate everything in what in USDT. But when it comes to you using the features to trade, you need to understand how to calculate your setup in what in the efficient amount, which is the coin value. Okay, and this is very brief, this is very simple, and it is a common thing in every part of the market that every single trader would know the value that is worth an asset. So if you take BTC is an asset and it's worth a value. Okay, that value is having its equivalent in the form of what USDT, because USDT, I said USDT is a stable asset that is pegged to the US dollar. The USDT is a stable asset pegged to the US dollar. So mostly a lot of people are familiar with USDT, USDC, because these values or these assets are being pegged. Okay. So mostly when we talk about the coin, a lot of people find it difficult to understand the actual values in the coin. The actual values in what? In the coin. And that is what we are going to focus on in our discussion this evening. That is what we are going to focus on in our discussions of this evening. Now, we know USDT is USDT. When it comes to Solana, when it comes to BTC, when it comes to Ethereum, their value is equated to what? To USDT or USDC or any stable asset, the value of a stable asset. So, for instance, when we check, let's say we have SRP. Now, we may have one SRP, two SRP, three XRP. Now you may understand or you know that this is one SRP, but you may not know the exact amount of what one SRP is equivalent to in terms of what USDT, because most of us are familiar with the USDT as compared to these coins, their value. So it is going to be easy for the trader to trade on a futures market when he understands how the value of the asset works in its equivalent value of what? USDT. Are you following? Are you following? Are you following? Are you following? All right. Okay. Okay. So right then we can proceed. So now let's proceed. So when you come to the board, so let's assume you know that this is the value of BTC. One, we know one BTC, two BTC, three BTC. Now, when we see one BTC is equivalent to certain amounts. So as of today, one BTC is equivalent to 194. As of today, one BTC is equivalent to 194K. Okay, 194,000. That is the value of one BTC. This means if we want to know the value of two BTC, we should multiply the current price of BTC or the position amount. This is called the amount, okay? The total worth of BTC by the current price of what? Of BTC. So for instance, in this case, if we want to get the actual value of BTC, of 2 BTC, you multiply 2 BTC times the current price of what? Of 1 BTC, which is 194,000. That will give you the actual value of what? Of 2 BTC. In the same manner, if you want to know the value of 3 BTC, it is 3 BTC multiplied by the current price of BTC, that is 194,000. That will give you the exact value of what? Of 3 BTC. This, the same thing applies to all the other cryptocurrencies that you need to know. Every single cryptocurrency has its own value. So every single asset you see in the market. So for instance, if we talk about when we talk about SRP, if you want to know the value of SRP, let's say 1,000 SRP or 100 SRP, you should multiply the value of that SRP by the current unit of SRP in what? In USDT. So if SRP is now equivalent to, let's say, 2.4, it simply means if you want to know the price of 100 SRP, it's going to be 100 times what? The current price of one SRP, which is 100 times 2.4. That will give you the price of 100 SRP in what? In USDT. Do you understand? 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 Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you the current price of an asset for you to do a simple calculation for me. This is an important lesson and you need to understand this. If you are not able to understand this aspect of the lesson, you can't be able to trade on the futures market. If you are not able to understand this aspect of the lesson, you can't trade on the futures market. Take notice of this. If you don't understand this aspect of the lesson, you can't trade on the futures market. Okay, so you need to pay attention and then follow the lesson. Okay, so now let's all check the current price of SRP. I'm going to use SRP. Let's all check the current price of what? Of SRP. So get me the current price of SRP now. The current price of SRP. Get me the current price of SRP now. 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 Yes, we need that to get the lesson, to see if you understood this aspect of the lesson. Get me the current price of SRP now. No one is giving me the current price. Okay, so 2 points. Okay. Okay. All right. So 2.4671. Is it 4 units? Is it 4 units? Is it up to four decimal place? Is it up to four decimal place? Get me the current price of SRP now. Is it only three people that I'm communicating with? Get me the current price of SRP now. Okay. Now, is it 4 units or 3 units? Some people are giving 3 units, some people too are giving 4 units. When I say 4 units, I mean four decimal place. So which is which? You see, these are some of the few things you need to know. These are some of the few things you need to know. Is it 4 units or 3 units? I don't think SRP is up to okay. So check it for us. 4 units. Most people are giving 4 units. It's up to 4 units. Okay. So where from those giving us the 2 units and the 3 units? So where from those giving us the 2 units and the 3 units? Oh, all right. Okay. So if it's 4 units, let's go. So the price of SRP is 2.4678. 2.46 what 78. That is the current price of SRP. 2.4678. 2.4678. This is the current price of SRP. So now, if we want to know, if we want to know, this is the current price of SRP now. If you want to know the unit or the value of 150 SRP, 150 SRP, what will be the answer? If you want to know the value of 150 SRP, what will be the answer? If we want to know the value of 150 SRP, what will be the answer? If we want to know the value of 150 SRP, what will be the answer? If we want to know the value of 150 SRP, what will be the answer? Yes, I'm waiting. If you want to know the value of 150 SRP, what will be the answer? Still waiting. What will be the answer? Yes. So 300 and what? 70. Okay. 370. 300 and what? And 70. 370. Okay. 300 and what? And 70. Good. So if you don't understand this, listen. If you don't understand this, we are discussing something brief here. What we are saying is that when a signal is given, listen, when a signal is given, the first thing that you need to do, the first thing that you need to do is to consider the current price of the asset multiplied by the total value that is need to be created. So in this case, the current price of SRP multiplied by the value which is supposed to be what 100 and what 150 SRP. So 150 SRP multiplied by the current price, which is we got 2.4 something. 2 point multiplied by 2.4670. So the answer you are going to get is what is going to give you. That is the equivalent value in what? In USDT. That is the value in what? In USDT. So that is 300 and what? 70.17. 370.17 from what you got from the chat box. from what you give out. That is 300 and what? 370. So this means if you are going to trade, you know that you are going to use what? 300 and what? $70 to trade. So for you to go into the account of Royalq and then enter the value, you should know what you are entering there, not just any value. Now, I'm emphasizing on this point because I've seen a lot of people making mistakes. I'm emphasizing on this point because I've seen a lot of people making mistakes here. I've seen a lot of people making mistakes. They will go there thinking it's the same as the sports market. So they will go there and enter $100. They will enter 100. Now, once you enter 100 there, the 100 is not USDT. It is 100 SRP that you've entered. Listen, once you entered what? 100. The 100 is not 100 SRP. It's not 100 USDT, but 100 SRP that you what? You've entered there. So you need to be careful and do your calculations right before you go there. You get it? You need to be careful and do your calculations right before you enter the value. So now let's go to Royalq. Let's go to Royalq. So you're on Royalq. Is it okay? Let's come here. Okay. So now let's assume you have it here. Okay. So you click on the assets, click on create, you click on understand. After clicking on understand, you either go on long or short. So you click on trade settings. After clicking on trade settings, we have smart create and manually create. We have smart create and what? And manually create. So the next thing that you have to do is to come to manually create. Is to come to where? Manually create. Now, after clicking on manually create, you are going to see 3.3 ETFI. 3.3 ETFI. Okay, so it simply what does it mean? They've given you the value as 3.3. What does the 3.3 ETFI mean? Okay, so 3.3. Now, this simply means 3.3 is the minimum amount that you can do, you can enter. This is not 3.3 USDT. Pay attention to this. This is not 3.3 what? 3.3 USDT, but 3.3 ETH5. Hmm? So that is Ethereum Pi or whatever you may choose to call it. So that is the value of the coin. This means you cannot enter below 3.3. That is what they are trying to tell you. That is not the, this doesn't mean that it is 3.3 USDT. So if you want to know first what is even the value of 3.3, you should the first thing that you have to do is to come here. Now go back, check the current price of the assets. The current price of the asset is 1.5560. Okay, so you take your calculator, take your calculator, take your calculator. 1.5560. That is the current price of the asset. Multiply by 3.3, which is 5.1348. That is the minimum entry. It simply means this asset, presently, if you want to enter, you cannot enter below $5. If you want to enter, you can't enter below $5. That is what it means. So the 3.3 ETH5 simply means 5 point what? 138 USDT. 5.1348 what? USD. That is the minimum entry you can enter. Now, now that you know that the minimum you can enter here is $5, you are not going to enter $5 here. So you come here, you check out your calculation. Okay, maybe I want to enter $100 as my first buy amount. I want to enter $100 as my first buy amount. So now you have to come here and check out the value that when you multiply, if that can give you $100. So let's look at it. If $5, if 3.3 can give us $5, let's increase the value to get an answer to that. Let's check out the value that can give us $100. So in this case, let's increase the value to, let's look at 20. So 20 will give us 31. Okay, 20 will give us 31. This simply means 40 will give us 62. Okay, so let's increase it to 60. Then see, so 60 will give us 93, right? What about 90? 90 will give us, okay, so let's look at what, 80. That is 124. Okay, so what about 70? 108. Then can we reduce this to C? What about 68? 105. So check out to see the value that we can get. We can give us $100 or a less of that. $100 or less of $100 or okay, so 68 will give us 105. What about 65? 101, right? So let's assume 65 will give us what, 101. So over here, when we are to enter a value, we are not going to enter 101 here, but rather we are going to enter 65 here. 65 is what, is 101. It simply means our first buy amount is what, is 101. It simply means our first buy amount is what, is 101. Simply means our first buy amount is what, is 101. If you want, sorry, it's 65. 65 ETFI, but the value of USDT is what, is 101 USDT. The value that the USDT value is what, 101 USDT. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. Someone say no, please. I don't understand. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. If you understand this, give me one in the chat. I want to know if you understand this session, because this part is an important part to your trading. Okay, it's an important part to your trading. Okay, now let's proceed. Let's proceed. Please, who is saying what if we divide by FBA by the coin market price? How can you divide coin market? The market cap of an asset is different from the price of the asset. Hmm? The market cap of the asset is different from the price of the asset. You should know that. All right. Now come here. What we are saying is that, listen, what we are saying. This is the backbone of the futures trading. Listen to this. This is the backbone. Without these calculations, you can't make right prices in the market in the futures trading. Without these calculations, you can't make right calculations or right profit in the futures market. You get it? Just like the spot market, where I have $100, I have to enter $20 here, and then use $80 as my margin calls. So over here, before you can know what the value you can use as your margin calls, you should know how to do these calculations. So this is the backbone of the futures market in what? In Royalq. So if you don't understand this, you find it difficult to trading on Royalq. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Now, what we are saying is this. Let me go back. You want to trade an asset, okay? You want to trade. Now, the asset you want to trade is having its value. All these assets that you see here, its equivalent price is what? Is in USDT now. The equivalent price is in USDT now. So if you look at it this way, you are seeing the USDT equivalent of the asset. So for instance, we have ADA USDT. So ADA USDT. Okay, that is 0.7668. So that is the current price of the asset. Listen, 0.7668 what? 8. That is the current price of the asset. That is the current price of the asset. Now, because you want to trade on this asset, so come here. Are you going on long or short? Then you choose your direction. Click on the asset. Click on manually create. When you get here, they are saying that first buy-in amount is 7 ADA, 7 ADA or whatever you may choose to call it. So 7 ADA, that is the value of the asset here. Now, All right, so guys, hello. All right, sorry. There was a network interruption. Pardon me for that. Hope you can proceed. Can you all hear me now? Can you all hear me now? Okay. All right. So let's proceed. Let's proceed. Yes, nothing is drawing us back. Nothing is drawing us back. We are proceeding. Okay. We are proceeding. Yes, we are proceeding. All right. So let me share my screen back for us to proceed. Let me share my screen back for us to proceed. Okay. So now you have my screen shared. You have my screen shared. Okay. So now what we are saying is simple. Guys, what we are saying is simple. And once you get these concepts right, you can trade on the futures market. Okay. Once you get this concept right, you can trade on the what? On the futures market. What we are saying is that, listen, what we are saying is every asset that you see in the crypto market, okay, every asset. So for instance, when you come to Royalq, these are the assets. All these assets you see here, let's go back. Let's go back. So all these assets you see here, they have their value equivalent to what? To USDT, because they are pegged to the US. That's the reason why you see we have the base and of the assets. The asset and then its base, that is the base as what? USDT. So over here, if you look at this asset, we have, for instance, any of these assets. So let's use any of these assets. Unction. Let's use unction. So if you look at unction now the value or the price of unction is 11.785. Okay, 11.785. That is the price of unction now. So 11.785. That is the price of unction. Now, when you want to trade on this unction, you click on trade settings, you click on manually create. They said the first buy in amount here is what? Is 0.43 auction. 0.43 what? Auction. Now, what it means is that the minimum amount you can enter here is 0.43. The minimum amount you can enter here, it simply means you can't enter below 0.43. But what is the value of 0.43 unction in USDT? So you said before you can get this value, come here, multiply it by the current price of the asset, which is 0.785. So 0.43 multiplied by 11.785 USDT. Let's look at it. So let's get a calculator. 11 point, what's the value? 11.785. 785 times 0.43. 0.43. That is 5.077, 5.06755. That is the value. That is the value. This means the minimum amount you can enter as your unction should not be less than $5. Should not be less than what? $5. Should not be less than 5 USDT. Should not be less than 5 USDT. That is what it means. So over here, if you have money that you want to use to, the first thing that you need to know is how much can I be able to enter in this market. So if you want to enter $100 as your first buy amount, over here you can't just enter 0.43 or $100. So maybe someone will think, okay, then if it's $100, the first thing is let me come here and change it to what? $100. Once you enter 100 here, 100 is not 100. This the value you entered here is not $100, but 100 auction. 100 what? Auction. Now let's multiply 100 auction and see. 11.785 times 100. That is 100 auction. That is going to give you 1,178.5 USDT. So if you come here and you enter $100 here, you've made a very big mistake. Once you enter 100 here, you've made a very big mistake. Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand now? Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand now? Do you understand now? Do you understand now? Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Now we are making progress. Now we are making what? We are making progress. Okay. So let's proceed. So now, because when you enter 100 here, you've entered 100 USDT, which is not USDT, but we need the unction value. Come here and look at the amount you want to enter and check the value that can be able to work out for you. So over here, they said one unction is 11.78 5 USDT. So for you to know the value that can give you $100, you come here. Let's take a calculator and do the multiplication together. So let's look at six. So six auction, okay, six will give us 70.71 USDT. So let's increase it to see. Let's look at nine. Nine will give us 106 USDT. So let's reduce it to 7 and see 82. So what about 8? 94. So this means 94. If we want 8, 8 will give us 94. So when you want to enter the value, you are not coming here to enter 94, but rather 8. You are not coming here to enter what? 94, but rather what? 8. 8 unction. It means 8 unction will give you 94 USDT. It simply means 8 unction will give you 94 USDT. Now, after being able to do this, you've done 90% of the job. You've done 90% of the job. Now that you've been able to enter the value here, because you need to do these calculations right before you can be able to enter it. Now, if you've understood this aspect, give me one in the give me one. If you understand that, if you've understood what we are saying, give me one in the chat. If you've understood, then give me one in the chat. Very good. So now this is also another alternative. Okay, this is also another alternative. This is another alternative. Okay, this is also another alternative to the calculation. So from what you've seen there, this is an alternative to the calculation. So the capital that you want to use to set as your first buy amount is what is $100, right? Divided by the current price of the asset, divided by the current price of the asset, which is 11.786. That is going to give you 8.48. Okay, so in order not for you to also complicate things, you can also use this aspect to go along with your calculation. Yes, there are so many you can apply here. So now that is it. So let's take another example. Let's take another example here. Let's take another example. So we are going to take another example here. So come back. Now let's come back here. So this is, let me get one asset that can give you double 0.0000. Now we have, let's use which asset? Let's use BeamX USDT. So BeamX, let's use BeamX USDC. That is 0.008300. Okay, the value is 0.008300. That is the value of BeamX. Now, so let's look at it. You click on create, understand, trade settings, manually create. Now, the minimum you can enter is 600 and what? 603 BeamX. 603 BeamX. That is the minimum you can enter. 603 BeamX. Now, calculate and give us the value in USDT. That is 603 BeamX will give you how many USDT? 603 BeamX will give you how much USDT? Do the calculation and give us the value. 603 beam X will give you how much USDT? Do the calculation and give us the value. The current price of beam X is 0.008300. 0.008300. So do the calculation and give us 603 beam X. 603 beam X. 603 beam X. Do the calculation and give us the value. 603 beam X. Do the calculation and give us the value. Do the calculation and give us the value. We are still waiting. Do the calculation and give us the value. Do the calculation and give us the value. We are still waiting. Okay. So do your thing and give us the value. Okay, someone is saying I'm not getting it. Okay, so do the calculation, let's get the value. Do the calculations and let's get the participate so that we will know either you've understood or not. Okay, participate so that we will know either you've understood or not. So do the calculation and give us the value. Okay, okay. So now let's take a calculator. These are calculator. The value of the equivalent of BMX is what? One BMX is equivalent to 0.003 right? So multiply by 603 will give you 5.0049. 5.0049. That is the value of what? Of beam X in 603 beam X. That is the value. It simply means when you come here, the minimum you can enter, you can't enter below $5. You can't enter below what? $5. So 603 beam X is equivalent to 5.0049 USDT. Now, what we are saying in continuation to this is that if the trader wants to know, okay, I have $100, I have $200, so I want to use to trade. So how much should I enter here as my first buy amount? So if you want to use $100, what are you going to enter? So what we are saying is that first come here. The easiest way to go by this. First, come here, divide the amount. So if it's $200, 200 divided by the current price of the lot. Hey, is it divided? What did we get here? So the value that you want to enter, multiply by what? The price. So you come here. We knew that 603 beam X gave us how much? It gave us how much? 5.3 what USDT. Sorry, 5.0049 what USDT. You get it right? Okay. So now you can proceed. So now you know the amount you want to enter here. So maybe you want to use $100 as your first buy what? First buy in amount. You want to use $100 as your first buy in amount. You want to use $100 as your first buy amount. So now get a number that when you multiply, that will give you at least 100 what? $100. When you multiply, that will give you how much? $100. That is what we are saying. So let's all do the calculations together. So let's take our calculator. So multiply by, let's look at the first 600 give us 5 USD. So let's look at it. Okay, so the next thing, okay, by 100 times. So please, do you get it now? 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 Now where from? Very good. Very good. Very good. So now we can proceed. Now we can proceed to the next thing. Now we can proceed to the next thing. So now, after that, the next thing that you have to set it up is your leverage. After that, the next thing that you have to set it up is your leverage. The next thing that you have to set it up is your leverage. So after setting up your leverage, so you come here and check your leverage. Now, with the leverage, understood the leverage already from our previous session. We said the leverage gives you your position size. Okay, the leverage gives you your position size. So let's talk about position size. So when you come here, Royalq gives the trader a maximum, a minimum of what? 20x. The highest leverage is 20x. You can't go beyond 20. Can't go beyond what? 20. So the highest leverage is 20x. So we've discussed here. We said, don't be greedy in this market. If you want to make more profit in this market, don't be greedy. Decrease your leverage. Decrease your what? Your leverage. Decrease your leverage. So when you come here, at least from 2x to 5x will sustain you in this market. It will give you profit without any fears and challenge. It will give you profit without any fears in the what? In the market. So from 2x to 5x wouldn't kill you much. Some of you will go so far as using 20x. I don't know the kind of money you want. Yeah? You go so far as using 20x. Eh? At least 2x to 5x is enough. 2x to 5x is enough to for you to survive in this market. So why would you go too far using 20x? Hmm? Do you understand what we are saying? Now, when it comes to the leverage, the reason why I'm saying that 20x is too much for you is that when you use 20x, 20x increases your risk of liquidation. Mind you, we've discussed over here that the higher your leverage, the more the profits, and also the higher your risk of what? Of liquidation. We've discussed here that we said the higher your leverage, the higher the profit, and at the same time, the higher the risk of what? Of liquidation. Please understand this. Do you get it? Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand? Who is that? The truth is that we want money. Okay, let me tell you, the futures market is not like the sports market where you jump into floating loss. The futures market, someone once said that the futures market is like the Old Testament. It gives you instant judgment. It gives you instant judgment. Okay, so so if you go there because you want money, you don't need to be greedy. Now, if you've understood what I'm saying, reply for me to know. Do you understand? You don't need to increase your leverage. Hmm? You don't need to do it. Increase your leverage. For you to maximize profit or for you to minimize profit in the futures market, just reduce your leverage and make profit. Very good. Now, yes, it's not for the weak. That's the reason why we are using Royalq. So the idea of using Royalq, I've been explaining this to you. The idea of using Royalq is to maximize losses and sorry, is to maximize losses and minimize what? Profit. That is the idea. We want to reduce losses and increase our profit gains or our gains. That is the reason why we are using Royalq. So, as a trader, it is not about not taking risk, okay, but it's about taking a calculated risk. Do you get it? That is what you need to understand. Okay. So now back to the leverage. Back to the leverage. So let's work out something here. Let's work out something here. There is what we call BSD. Okay. There is what we call BSD in trading. So BSD. Now pay attention to this because you need to understand this about the leverage. You need to understand this about the what? About the leverage. Now, when we talk of BSD, the full meaning of BSD is bot strategy data. Bot strategy data. That is the full meaning of BSD. Bot strategy data. So anytime you set up a trade, you may see that anytime you set up a trade, you will see that the records is in your exchange. But yet, there is a slight difference between the records in your exchange and on Royalq. Now, what makes the difference? The records is as a result of what we call bot strategy data. Because what Royalq records is given by the bot. Okay, so the recordings of Royalq is based on the bot, that is the AI. And then the exchange also present to you the language of the exchange. So for instance, the last time I told you that you may hear the term margin calls in Royalq, but you will never see it in your exchange that this is margin calls. But you may see the application in your trading. It's because of what we term it as BSD. So anytime you open a leverage, pay attention to this. Anytime you open a leverage, let's assume you have $10, or let's assume you have $100. Okay, you go for a leverage of five. Let's use 10x. Now, your position amount or your position size is going to be $1,000. Your position size is going to be what? Is going to be $1,000, whilst your margin amount is going to be $100. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? All right, let's proceed. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. So let's go back to the board. Now, with this $1,000 is your position amount, your position size. This $100 is um your margin amount. Mind you, you've set up what we call take profit, TP. TP. You've set up what we call TP. Now, this TP is going to show working in Royalq. This TP is going to show working in Royalq based on how the assets will rise or according to your direction in the market. Based on how the assets will do what will rise according to the direction of of your trade. So assuming you are either on long long position or short position. This TP is going to rise, is going to affect your trade in Royalq. So in your exchange, whilst you are trading, when there is a rise in the market, this asset can choose to rise even 1,000%. Okay, and even if it rise 1,000%, you are expected to make profit based on your what? Your take profit. Your target is going to be based on your what? On your take profit. So if your take profit is 2%, you are going to make 2% on the rise of the asset, not that 1,000% that the asset flows in the market. So in your exchange, you are going to see that the asset has given you about 200%, 300%. But over here, your take profit is going to be figured out. Do you understand? Do you understand this? Do you understand? So anytime you set up a trade, after setting it up, you will see that once you go into your exchange, you are going to see the reflection of the trade, but on different values. When I say on different values, I mean on based on the exchange records. So even the average price will be marked as what? As a marked price in your exchange. The current price, sorry, the average price will be marked as what? As your entry price. Your entry price. And then the current price of the assets in your Royalq will be marked as what? Your marked price. That is the difference. So anytime you set up a trade, you realize that despite the profit you are supposed to make, you will see the asset can rise very high, yet the profit condition is going to be based on your take profit. So it's going to be based on the take profit, which is your 2%, your 3%, or 5% in the market. That is what you set up, right? So in the case of using leverage, someone will say that then if that's the case, what's the essence of the leverage? Now, in the case of using leverage, the leverage is to help you derive your profit very fast, because the more you increase the leverage, the more it also increases the rate at which the asset will rise to take profit. Maybe I'm going too fast. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. So you get 2% of what? $100 on your margin, on your marginary amount. That is 2% of what? Your marginary amount on your margin. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? All right. Now let me take over. Let me go over these aspects. Then I'll give you some few minutes to ask your questions for us to bring this session to an end. Okay. Let me go over this aspect again. Then I'll give you some few minutes to ask your questions before we bring this session to an end. Now, take your time. Take your time. What we are saying is simple. Okay. We said after you doing all your calculations, you also need to get your leverage right. After doing all the calculations, you need to get your leverage also right. You need to get your leverage right. What we are saying is that assuming you've used $10, use a leverage of what? A leverage of 10. This means your position size is 100. Okay. Your position size is what? Is 100. Now, your take profit is 2%, or whatever percentage that you've set. Let's assume it's 2%. That is your take profit. Okay. What we are saying is that the purpose of the leverage is not only to generate profit. Okay, but to also increase the rate at which your take profit can be triggered very fast. It also increases the rate at which your take profit can be what can be triggered very fast. So in the case of Royalq, what we are saying is that the leverage you set, your take profit is going to be triggered, or your profit that you are going to make is based on the take profit of your marginal what amount. That is what we are saying. So if you make, let's assume, if you've made $10, by doing calculations, okay, by doing your calculations right, okay, okay, so by doing your calculations right, your profit that you are making out of the market, that is the 2%. That is the 2%. So if your leverage is 5x or 10x, okay. Then the next one is to take profits, I understand. Okay, so you take profits either 2%, 3%, or whatever you are setting it up. So 2%. Okay, so you set that value up. Now, what we are saying is that the take profit, even if the markets rise or the assets rise 1,000%, your profit will be triggered based on the take profit set in the market. Your profits will be triggered based on the take profit you've set in the market, which affects both the margin amount and then your position size. So the leverage would increase your position size for your profit to be triggered very fast. That is another aspect of the leverage. Your leverage would increase your position size for your profit to be triggered very fast, right? So in the case of you making profits, you're going to make profits based on your margin. That is what you need to understand. All right. So let me end here and give you some few minutes to ask questions. Let me end here. Let me end here for you to ask your question. Okay. So let me give you the opportunity to ask your question. All right. So please, if you have any question, let me give you the opportunity to ask your question. It's late. Yeah, let me give you the opportunity to ask your question. So please show the strategy page. So you also set call drops. Yes, you need to set up a call drop. You need to set up a call drop. I think margin calls are important. And yesterday we discussed about margin calls. So can I use one robot to trade both sports and futures at the same time? Yes, you can use to trade both sports and futures simultaneously or at the same time. Okay, you can trade both sports and futures at the same time. You can trade both sports and futures at the same time. Okay, so let me see if there are any other questions. Is there anyone? Yeah. Okay. Please, you've been asked to unmute yourself, so ask your question.
Yeah, Lady Emmanuel, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you for your good work you're doing. Please, how can we get this recording?
So it will be shared on the platform. It will be shared on the platform.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
You're welcome. All right. So, all right. Thank you. Okay. So let me take the questions in the chat box. So kindly set all drops. Yes. So today we are only to discuss on how to calculate the value of the assets and then also getting the leverage right. So I think in our next session we will discuss more on the call drops. But notwithstanding, with the margin calls, we are using the same strategies as we use in trading on the spot market. Okay, we are using the same strategies as we use in calculate as we use in what in trading on the spot market. Let me see what is the best call drop. Sports we advise to make big call drops. Yes, so that's the same principle that we are going by. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Please, no one should drop signal here. No one should drop signal here. No one should drop any signal here. No one should drop any signal here. All right, so guys, I think that is all for this evening. He has made a question, not a signal. Oh, really? So you can ask the question straight instead of dropping that signal. Other people will fall victim of that, and we don't want that to happen. So it will be dropping on the platform. So please take note of that. So you can ask your question directly than dropping that signals, please. We don't want any trouble here. No confusion. No confusion here, please. You drop a signal here and people will go and set it up. Hmm? Good. So don't do that again. This meeting is for you to learn. Yeah, so please, I think we have to on our next session. I have to there are more calculations that we have to do. Okay. There are more calculations. So on our next session, I'll have to take you through how to calculate for the take profits and then the position size. So please take your time. You will learn all those things. How to calculate for the position size, the take profit, and then your profit and loss. That is the PNL, the liquidation price, both long and short. So if God permits, on our next session, we'll focus on the calculations and how it works. So we have crypto ambassadors platform, and I think everyone who is an activated member belongs to any of the crypto ambassadors platform. So we'll drop it there. Don't worry. Just see your upline or your leader and you check it out. All right. So you were asking if you get such a kind of signal, how do you set it up? So the first thing is, since you know how to set it up on your futures on your Royalq, since you know how to set up every sorry, I said Royalq, how you know how to set up a trade on sports trading. So that is the same process. The only exceptional case is the calculation on the what on the coin. That is the reason why you've taken time to discuss more on the coin this evening. The only different calculation is what is on the coin. So every strategy, every trading setup that you do on what do we call on spot is the same thing that you can also do on futures. The only difference is the calculation and then the leverage, right? So that is it. All right. So you can't kill the market. The market is always there. So you can't kill the market, but you are ready to take something from the market. We are all to eat from the market, but we can't kill the market. If you kill the market, where will you get that money again tomorrow? If you kill the market today, will you get money tomorrow? eh? So you can't kill the market. You can't kill the market, but you can eat from the market. No, the futures market, when it comes to drop, an asset when you go on long, you expect the asset to drop against you. When you are on short, you expect the drop is rather going to rise. Do you get it? So there are slight scenarios. The scenarios are different in terms of drop. So for instance, if you are on long on an asset, the price of the asset will do what? Will rise. Sorry, if you are on long on an asset, the price of the asset will drop against you. And then if you are on short, the market will go against you on what? On long. So over here, drops matters. So on your short position, your drop will be on long position. And then on your long position, your drop will be on short position. That is it. All right. So I think yesterday we discussed on how to calculate for a liquidation price. So over here in futures trading, using the Royalq, we said the big men don't use stop loss. So over here we are not using stop loss, but we have an inbuilt mitigation. The boat is having its own inbuilt mitigation strategies, which control stop loss. So you don't need stop loss. What you need is the margin calls. How to open the margin calls. That is what you need. Okay. And we've also discussed about hedge trade yesterday. Yesterday we discussed about hedging. So you get all those things from that aspect of the lesson. What if I set up big call drops and I'm about to be liquidated? I'm about to be liquidated. I think we are not discussing about liquidation today, but what I have to say in regards to that is it's always important for you to understand that, of course, there are liquidations on the futures market, but liquidations only happen when the right thing has not been done. That is the first thing, especially when you've opened up margin calls. Anytime you open up margin calls, it buys to create new average price, and the average price creates new liquidation price. So it makes it difficult for you to be liquidated. And I think as we proceed with the lesson, you teach on how to minimize your profits in the market in order not for you to be liquidated. It is not every asset that you have to trade on, especially when it comes to the futures market. It is not every asset that you have to trade on. So we will discuss all those things and the different strategies you can apply, especially when it comes to maybe the technical analysis aspect of the market. Some of the ways you can apply your technical analysis. Some of the technical analysis process you have to do, or you have to go through for you to get the concept. So if God permits, on our next session, we'll continue with that. All right, so guys, I think it's late. It's 7:39 in Ghana. And what's the time in Uganda now? Okay. All right. So I think we will end here. Okay. We will proceed on our next session. So we will look at the calculations involved in how to look at your leverage, your profit and loss margin, your liquidation price, and your take profit. So let's end here. If God permits, tomorrow we'll still meet again. Have a good night. Okay, so it's 10:40 in Uganda. Okay, and 10:40 in Kenya. That is East Africa. So East African time is 10:40, and um 8:40 in Nigeria, and then also 7:40 in Ghana. All right. So I wish you all the best in your trading journey. Have a good night. Love you all. Bye bye bye.